Hello, welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It, where we discuss myriads of topics civilly, reasonably, and responsibly. My name is Kevin Dufresne. The topics we're going to discuss today have a combining effect. One, dealing with individuals of different abilities, different needs, though regarding being in school, reasons for being in school, assessing absenteeism, assessing attendance with individuals with different needs and different abilities in mind, brings one to assess whether an educational criterion is relative to one educational entity or an educational environment that connects network-wise. Beginning with understanding how individuals with different needs, different abilities, may require different attention, an educational network being able to offer assistance suffice for an individual's progress toward being a functional human being in the world at large is necessary. Assessing laws in tandem with individuals with different needs and different abilities, I find a network may provide more access, even considering if an educational entity, a part of an educational network, may be more distant than an educational entity nearer to an individual with different needs and different abilities. The network may provide resources, information leading individuals to find ways to embrace resources. I find when tending to individuals with different needs, different abilities, individuals that have backgrounds working with individuals with different needs and different abilities are able to be in particular positions of either better advising or better implementation more immediately in an educational space. But the reason why I mention advising is due to reality that an individual may be cognizant of a particular need or ability to varying degrees, as well as an educational atmosphere, and may be able to help with understanding whether the educational atmosphere is suitable, suffice enough to ensure the meeting of a need, the meeting of a different ability. I'm always going to advise cautioning, diagnosing anything due to individuals' relations with atmospheres. In one environment, in one educational environment, in one educational atmosphere, an individual with different needs, different abilities may thrive more so than in another educational environment, educational atmosphere. With so many variables, being able to have a network able to provide for different needs and different abilities expands the possibilities of an educational criteria. Fulfilling through a network broadens the educational reality in connection with long-term progress, aiding a human to be functional in the world at large. Even in a comparative sense, competitively between educational entities, one must be mindful any individual in need, any individual with a different ability will need attention, branching beyond parameters that may be stifling. If networks acknowledge that individuals with different needs and or abilities may need to extend beyond a particular area, even perhaps a particular network, then individuals with different abilities and or needs may receive proper supports, allowing for a thriving that may not seem so distant any longer due to networks better connecting, better expanding. An economic conversation may ensue from attempting to understand how networks may properly expand as well as connect, especially when considering how funding might operate with an expanding, more so interconnecting, if one will, network, depending on the size of the network and how many areas the network expands through. When assessing whether public education may suffice to fulfill such needs, then understanding how expanding, interconnecting may be more valuable may come to light, especially considering if any private entity is offering valuable assistance, offering educational opportunities through networks expanding, offering connective parameters even beyond a private network to engage with public network. I find diagnosing any individual without a clear belief in an individual's ability without diagnosing may prove conflicting for any, considering in age modernity where diagnosing may be controversial, where individuals of similar backgrounds and experiences have come to garner, earning great success beyond any diagnosis, though never receiving a diagnosis. I caution anyone approaching such an avenue of diagnosing, especially before engaging with approaching aspects of parenting, aspects of culturing, assessing life communally, ensuring well-rounding parameters are set before offering one's life to a diagnosis that may prove conflicting, especially considering long-term progressions. When assessing parameters of absenteeism, one must be aware of how the educational criterion is expanding in connection with one's network. If an educational entity is not available to provide individuals with different needs and or abilities with proper attention, proper resources in an immediate educational environment, a part of offering resources for any to consider means advising, as the article mentions, other avenues of education, other avenues of growth. The resources must ensure an individual will progress well, as efficiently as if in an educational environment in person, toward an equal measure of fulfillment, of potential from where one is to be going, from where one is moving forward from. Not limiting one's fulfillment, not limiting one's access to fulfilling one's potential. Resources don't always have to be immediately present within an educational environment, though resources don't only mean having an immediate presence to acknowledge or to handle a situation that may arise in the immediate. Considering resources may be more extending, the resources are to be of information as well to a practical resolve through networks. I mentioned resources in these two capacities so anyone doesn't feel confusion. resources as information being different than resources as immediate assistance. For example, if one bruises one's knee, one might be able to find some water more immediately in an environment, some tissue, perhaps some cream, because of a nurse's assistant. Whereas if a nurse's assistance is not present, then an individual may have to use what is available to clean an area, then proceed how one may, as well as one may. Though may receive advice about how important it is to clean an area after a scraping to ensure to prevent bacteria from causing anything else to happen. Information may be as useful as immediate attention and may prove valuable in connecting individuals with what may be more necessary than might be seemingly available. When attempting to understand how an individual might feel before embarking on a day, one might have to understand how feeling is personally. Additionally, understanding networks, understanding how communal working with an educational environment may be is so important. Rosters may change. Students may get sick. Anything may happen to a life. What connects understanding is the reality of the objective of education, which might not seem so apparent, might not be clear to individuals, whether in an educational environment, as an employee, or as an individual that's attempting to see if an educational environment is suitable for one's growth, one's child's growth. When observing how effective an educational environment may be, one must observe how effective a home environment might be, how effective a local environment might be, how effective any area of which one experiences may be, especially in connection with a life. Hence reason I caution anyone going for a diagnosis. A diagnosis is not necessarily to acknowledge potential. A diagnosis is to acknowledge a situation, to acknowledge a behavior, to acknowledge what might not be relevant at a later point. Though, to find what may be suitable for now, for what one is diagnosing, may cause one to focus there instead of the objective of education with an individual. Hence reason I mentioned acknowledging what else may be in connection with an individual because when we're looking, we being individuals that care, or individuals that may not have answers, though may have questions, or may not have questions or answers, though may have feelings that seem to beckon a response, acknowledging how long-term parameters may be may better assist one with understanding how to navigate in myriad ways, available ways, that may assist one's growth. Individuals receiving guidance may need different guidance. Learning never stops. So every area of community, every area of a network may be effective toward ensuring better progressions for an individual, for a family. All right. It's time for some origami. We're going to take this square origami and we're going to fold it point to point. After folding it point to point, we're actually going to pop it out and we're just going to fold it edge to edge. This is a finger trap origami. It's to be a little bit of fun. We're going to now move into bringing our lines from our edges in, so we have our nice triangle form. Next, we're going to bring each point up. Okay. And after we bring this up, we're going to come to the realization that we actually have to open all of this up again. And we're actually gonna fold in from our diamond. So from that initial point of folding, we come back here, and instead of going from our edge points, we're going to pop back to our diamond points. Good origami practice. We're gonna bend in from this top portion with our 4 points up. And this way, we can work on our future folds. If you already proceed with the prior folds, you're all right. Because those folds will help with these folds. So now we've come here, and now we're going to open up completely again. Here we have our first folds. So what we'll do here now is we're actually going to rip this. If you have scissors, you can cut it, but you can see we come down to just this little portion here. Don't want to rip too much. Okay. I'm just using my hands. If you use the instructional via a link in the summary of the YouTube channel, then you'll find yourself in a video using scissors. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually fold in. So we fold in each portion here. And we fold in again here. Now what's interesting about this form to me is that you can, again, you see this form folding, you can actually create this style of toy with a little bit more variance. As you see right now, we're going more so with the triangles here. See, so we're pulling in the triangles, though you can reshape these to your liking. So now, these are all folded in, okay? It's gonna get fun. So we're gonna now take this middle portion here, and we're just gonna slightly bend it in. You ready? So we're gonna take it, we're gonna slightly bend it in. Slightly bend the other portion in as well. This is a little bit about shaping here. So you see this early portion? If you do it like this, you have a big triangle. What you really want to do here though is, if you want to make this a little bit more succinct, you'll bring this in here. You bring your triangle point down a little bit here, right here. It's about halfway. Fold it in. Okay, so just about halfway. You actually need this claw. So, you come in here. Alright, now, instead of folding it the other way, you have like long pincers. You fold in here, right here. You fold it in like this. See that edge coming in? You just fold it in. Again, just take it in and you fold it in here. So as you can see, it bounces up. And give you a different angle from it. You'll see it here, right here. It's bouncing in. Fold in again. You're just folding to meet this triangle fold that you make, this little fold here. So you'll have pincers, sharp pincers. And again, you'll see it even gives you like a nice little fold there. Okay, fold in here. And fold in again here. And you can just give it a nice little test of squeezing in to make sure that you have the folds correctly. Okay. Let me just come and fold in here again. Okay, and then voila. So now that we're here, all you have to do now is, well, you're gonna have to pop this in and you lift this portion up. Okay. Now we can take this, acknowledge this portion right here. This is very important. You gotta have a, like I said, there's a fold here that we have. So if we pop it in here, you see it doesn't necessarily grab in. So what we can do is we can add a little fold in here, boom, boom. So we can get more of that diamond fold in, more pop. Okay, so here we go. Let's fold it in. it in, fold it in, fold it in, and this is one of my situations when actually approaching this pop design. I'm like, will the pop just go away after a while? But it doesn't. From the initial fold, it's done really, really well. Also, it might depend on the paper as well, aside from the folding. So keep that in mind. When I pop it, pop. As you can see, it does pop up, though more so like one of those machine toys that doesn't seem to grab the entire doll. It's like holding the doll like this and it just kind of falls out. So you can actually observe the video for a much tighter fold. Though, I do like this as is, and I think it can be somewhat entertaining. Claw, and then pop. And that's the gist of what's happening here. All right. I appreciate reading physical books due to the benefits of spatial development from reading a physical book. So I encourage from these book reviews the reading of physical books. So however you consume context that's suitable for you, awesome, from a different perspective of just enjoying what is available. The good that's available. The Wind Up Chronicles. Oh my goodness. The Wind Up Bird Chronicles. Really, really good. I mean, we are looking at a mystery. We are observing the building of relationships, the transitions of relationships. What is one's life if one is tending to oneself? What is one's life if one is attempting to learn more externally from oneself, or even negating, ignoring oneself, trying to better understand oneself? We acknowledge the reality of an estate. Estates are a part of understanding how one chooses to live, what is in one's space. When looking at how growth may happen, how an individual may meet another individual, what the relationship may bring about, how being in community may be expansive for one, even if only to a degree of community, not necessarily a large group, though an important connection, important communication, how beneficial that may be for one. The book is a thrill to read between varying psychological situations that bring one to better understand characters exploratively, that better bring characters to life. So the story is dreamlike, though rounding through reality, rounding through psychosis, and understanding cultural parameters that are more so universal than only particular to Japan, shows a connectivity of reality, of circumstances. And I really appreciate the text. I find the text blunt. I find the text to be embracing variances of reality. I think branching between the styles of writing allows for one to be in a deeper grounding of how a life may be from a random situation, a random point of interest. And I find the author gravitates well around what may be circumstantially, what may be from a point of interest, what may be in connection with one's life in the community well, in a way that allows one freedom to, as any story I believe does though, allows one freedom to understand better how simply a life may be different and how different aspects of life may simply be appealing and allow for one to grow. Thanks for watching I Don't Know. We can talk about it. Onward and Upward, Dufresne.